For a while now, I've been wanting to make a video discussing probably the most discussed aspect of BMWs, and that's their reliability. And I'm here to say that that is completely wrong. What I will say though is that if you own a BMW, it does require more maintenance than any other standard vehicle. And if you're watching this video, you probably know BMW's tagline that is the ultimate driving machine. And for the most part, they definitely are. And for BMW to make it the ultimate driving machine, there's a lot of technology that gets packed into that vehicle, and with the additional technology comes added maintenance costs. And you certainly see maintenance costs being discussed about BMWs a lot. And I'm not here to dispel that rumor, because anyone that's owned a BMW knows that there are certainly additional maintenance costs that are associated with the ownership of a BMW. And while there are a lot of ways that you can cut down on those maintenance costs, that's not exactly the point of today's video, and it's something that I might touch on later. But really, I'm just here to talk about their reliability. What I can start off saying is that there certainly are some models of BMW that are less reliable than others. Anyone that knows BMWs well would say that the E65 series, the E65 7 series, and the E93 series, if you're talking about the 335, and then again in the E60, if you're talking about the 535, essentially anything with the N54 motor, those are typically more unreliable than you'll find other BMWs being. And I can say, without talking about it too much, as you certainly can do research on your own, that those vehicles definitely deserve the title of being unreliable. And also, anyone knows that people with enough money to buy a brand new 7 Series, essentially you buy the car brand new, you drive it until the end of warranty, and then you swap it out for a brand new 7 Series. And there, it's not necessarily due to what I would call unreliability. It's more because of the maintenance costs that are coming down the road with a 7 Series that can become quite substantial. And if you're not taking care of that substantial maintenance, that's where the car then becomes unreliable. And really, that's the point that I want to make in today's video. It's the fact that mostly across the board, BMW generally does make reliable vehicles. But the one thing that derails their reliability is the lack of maintenance done by past owners. So what I'm saying is, you would really have a difficult time finding a newer BMW that has proper maintenance history and has been maintained in the dealer or an independent that is going to be an unreliable piece of crap. In my opinion, there really is only one reason that BMWs are known as unreliable. And that's from people who buy cheap ones without doing any research, that don't have proper documentation on its maintenance history, have problems, and then cry all over the internet that they're unreliable, they're expensive to maintain, they're such a piece of crap. Really, it doesn't take long in any sort of research to see that that's the standard of what you're seeing from people who say they're unreliable. I mean, look in your own group of friends or people you know who are into cars. And if any of them own a BMW, it's probably an older beat up one, an E46 that has 200,000 miles, that there's been no maintenance done on it. And they'll sit and laugh and tell you, oh yeah, this car is such a piece of crap. It's like, well, yeah, it is a piece of crap because the maintenance has not been done on it, not simply because it's a BMW. You can go back and look at my video on the cost of maintenance on updating my 7 Series and see that that's kind of also the point that I made at that time as well. And that's the reason that the maintenance was so expensive on the car, is the fact that there was not maintenance done at all. And if the maintenance had been done properly at the proper intervals, I would not be having the issues that I'm having now. It's not the fault of the car. But this is where a little bit of honesty comes in, and BMW pretty much did this to themselves. And what I mean by that is BMW has become a status symbol in the fact that if you see somebody with a BMW, you assume that they have money. So they've become a target of people who want to look like they have a lot of money. And there are a ton of people out there that They want the prestige and the lifestyle that comes with a BMW, but they really don't have the money to play. So they'll go out, they'll find a $3,000 E46 with a ton of miles or whatever, and then it will be unreliable because it was cheap, it was unmaintained, and then those people just go around and they'll tell everyone what a piece of junk it is. And that is not a fault of BMW as a manufacturer, because it really doesn't matter what you drive. If you're driving something foreign, domestic, Japanese, whatever, if a car has not been maintained, it's gonna have reliability problems. So when somebody owns a high mileage piece of crap Ford and something goes wrong with it, they laugh it off because, well, they know it's not been maintained, it's unreliable, and of course it's a piece of crap Ford or Dodge or what have you. But when it comes to BMWs, the same consideration is not given. And the reason that the BMW is broke is because it's a piece of crap BMW that's unreliable. And as I said earlier in the video, there are models that you find within BMW's family that is true, but for the most part, it is not. Even in the video where I'm talking about my E38 being clapped, it has 252,000 miles on it. And I don't know how many other cars out there are on the road driving at least semi-reliably with over 250,000 miles on them. And so really that's my point, is I'm tired of hearing that BMWs are unreliable because people don't want to spend the money on maintaining them or purchasing one with a proper maintenance history. And if you're buying a $3,000 BMW that's beat to hell and it breaks, that's your fault. Also, something important to talk about is BMW's M cars. Now, the M cars are pretty much BMW's version of their race cars, but they're street legal to drive. And as being such as these race cars are, they're high horsepower, the tolerances for engine components are tighter because ultimately they're looking to make a more aggressive and race type vehicle. And with those things come exceptionally more maintenance, and that the maintenance that has to be done is also very, very more expensive than a typical BMW. And so somebody that doesn't know that, who would go to purchase an M car for whatever reason, would suddenly find themselves with maybe a $5,000 repair for rod bearings. And just as I've been saying, somebody might look at that bill and say there's no way that they can afford or want to pay $5,000 for an engine repair, and they'll kick that can down the road to the next unfortunate victim, not wanting to spend the money on the maintenance, not wanting to deal with a shop, not knowing how to deal with any of it. So they just move that on to the next owner, and that next owner may realize that it's very expensive and it requires a lot of maintenance, so they'll keep on kicking that can down the road until it unfortunately gets to a point where the car is no longer reliable. So if you're looking to buy your first BMW, make sure to do your proper Carfax on it. Make sure to bring it to an independent mechanic before you buy it so that they can do a once-over on it and make sure that all the maintenance is up to date. And if it's not, that they can properly tell you and quote you what will all need to be done. And if you do that, your BMW will be reliable and last you a long, long time. So thank you very much for checking out the channel. And if you liked what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe.